Good morning, everybody. It's February 29th. We don't get these days very often. We have some good friends of ours who got married on leap year, so they are celebrating their second anniversary 14 years later. So it's kind of funny. I think it's funny. But welcome to Staying Mission Driven, February 2024. Today, we will, I put the agenda in here, so just a quick welcome and check-in, provide some information, program update, state foundation update, advanced education conference, and then I have some news from the Endowed Chair campaign and Cougs Give, and advisory committee. So first, I want to start by thanking every county and program who participated and sponsored our 2024 WSU Extension Master Gardener presence at the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. We visited with more than 2,500 guests, and volunteers categorized more than 1,500 questions. Most of those conversations were about how to become a master gardener. If you are not on mute, you could please mute yourself. I was receiving some feedback. But yeah, so most of those conversations were about how to become a master gardener, lots on plant biodiversity, local food, and soil health. I think for us, the biggest benefit internally in our program for our participation in the show is the ability to work together across counties. I heard a number of comments from volunteers, wow, I had no idea that such and such county had the plant sale similar to ours and made as much money. And we have so much to learn from each other. It's great to come together and network in this opportunity here. So it was a great time, and I really appreciate the support from all of the counties. I think we had 12 or 13 counties participate this year. Yeah, so Chelan Douglas, Cowlitz, Grays Harbor, Pacific, King, Kitsap, Lewis, Pierce, San Juan, Skagit, Snohomish, Spokane, Thurston, Whatcom, and Yakima. And I want to say a special thanks to Gary Scheider from King County, Kirby Cartwright from King County, Debbie Benbow from Chelan Douglas, and Tana Hassert from Pierce, also as the state foundation president. They are the ones who orchestrated our presence here at the festival and made sure that our participation happened seamlessly. So thank you to you as volunteers supporting this effort. A couple photos here from the show. So last month, I shared a link to the 2022 Impact Report. And today I want to talk a little bit about why we ask the questions that we do in this annual survey that I sent to program coordinators, and hopefully give you some context for the program priorities that will help you better understand why we have those. From my perspective, your understanding of those program priorities and you using those program priorities to develop your programming in the counties is imperative, because you are the ones delivering the education in the communities where you live, work, and play. So what the things I'm about to share with you are, could be kind of boring for some of you, but for some of you, you might love it. And others of you, you might have, done this in your career and you already know all about it. But over the years in my support of Master Gardener volunteers, I've found that, if I share more about what we're doing, sort of under the table or under the, behind the scenes, I find that there's volunteers out there who have more knowledge and better ideas than I do about this stuff, and can help us get to where we need to be. So in academia, we work in the world of logic model. Logic model or planning theory that kind of shows the relationship between the the organization, the resources that the organization has, the things that that organization wants to accomplish, and then the difference that that organization makes. And so that is the terminology in a logic model is inputs, or that's the people, the time, and the money that go into the activities, which are the outputs. So those outputs in our program, tip sheets or
Plug
fact
this
sheets,
in that bag or not?
the classes that we
Right
offer.
there. Plug.
Charger.
Somebody is not on mute. If you could mute yourself.
Yeah.
It's a plug as much as that thing over there is a plug.
That's a mouse.
Find the person who's talking here. Please mute yourself. Thank you. I'm gonna Alex, I just made you a host. Will you help with the muting, please? Okay, so
Yes.
back to my thank you. So in academia, we work in the world of logic model. We have we consider these inputs, which are the things that the people, the time, the money, the outputs, which are tip sheets, the classes, the meetings, the projects that we do, partnerships that we have. And then we have outcomes, which really speak to the difference that we're making in the communities. And when I am surveying the program coordinators at the end of the year, I ask them for numbers of volunteers, which is an input. I ask them for the time that volunteers put in, which is an input. I ask them for the money that we spend, which is an input. I ask them for the number of classes that we teach, which is an output. I ask them for the demonstrations that we have, which is an output. I ask them for the number of questions that we answer in our clinics. I also ask them for stories about their outcomes. What did people learn because of what we've taught? What did people do because of what they learned? And then I also ask them for, okay, what happened in our community because of what we taught and they learned and they did? So we're pretty good at inputs and outputs when I ask these questions of the program coordinators. We are good at keeping track of the number of hours that volunteers put in, the number of volunteers that serve our program. We are good at tracking the number of questions that come in. We're good at tracking the number of classes we hold, the number of demonstrations we host, the number of workshops we host. We're good at all of that. We're working to improve our ability to report on knowledge gained, on behavior change, and condition change. And we're also, beginning to look at indicators, which are what are those specific, observable, measurable accomplishments that show progress toward achieving that outcome or that condition change. So we rely on these to show that these indicators to show that we are making progress and we do have a role in that condition change. So stepping back just a little bit here, our program serves the purpose and mission of WSU and of WSU Connors, which is CAHNRS. It's the College of Agricultural, Human, and Natural Resource Sciences. So Connors, with our new dean, Wendy Powers, whom I think many of you have met. She's participated in a number of our events, including being on Staying Mission Driven. But she's the Dean of Connors, and she has initiated Resilient Washington as a way to describe the public value of Connors. And essentially that means Connors builds a resilient Washington that has access to healthy foods, that stewards natural resources, that supports thriving communities, families, and individuals, and develops a qualified, adaptable workforce. In our program, we cultivate plants, people, and communities, empowering and sustaining diverse communities, delivering relevant research-based horticulture information and environmental stewardship education for a healthy people and a healthy planet. So we do this, we say we do this, but we have to be able to prove it with data and with stories. We have to show the non-gardeners and gardeners alike the public value that we provide to Washingtonians. Why should a non-gardener care about what we do? We want to be able to engage a non-gardener in a conversation about why what we do matters to them. And that's where our program priorities come in. As you all know, we've been engaging with and reporting to our program priorities that we developed in 2019 and adopted in 2020 and began reporting to in 2021. So it's been a slow rollout, a slow process to get these to become the fabric of everything that we do. And 2022 was the first year that we fully reported to them. The Telling Our Story team, which is one of the 5 strategic planning teams in our program, in an effort to help support all of you adopting and reporting around these priorities. We've been working with the program coordinators, to help them better understand. And the Program Priority Toolkit is a great resource that will help you and us describe our public value. So the toolkit contains for each priority what we do. So for this particular example, local food, we teach sustainable techniques for growing local food to improve individual and community health and wellness. Why do we do it? We do it to increase access to fresh, nutrient-dense foods. And our desired outcome, or that public value, healthy and food secure families and communities. So you're going to find, for every program priority, you'll find, the what, the why, and the desired outcome. You'll also find the situation or the issue that we're attempting to address. And this is based on research. So the research isn't cited here, but it's from the United States Department of Agriculture, National Institute of Food and Ag. So in 2019, I want to make sure that we're using the most up-to-date research, but this is what we have right now. In 2019, 13.8 million Americans were food insecure. So local food production reduces economic and environmental impact, and people with direct access to food eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, have healthier BMIs, and are at less risk for diabetes. So if we remember that situation, people who have direct access to food are healthier in general than people who do not. And so as a Master Gardener program, what do? We help people grow their own food, giving them direct access. If people aren't gardeners, we donate that food to food banks and other food pantries, giving people direct access to food. So it's not a direct cause and effect, but there's a definite correlation between the food that we help people grow and the food that gets donated to supporting people having healthier BMIs and being at less risk for diabetes and heart disease. So based on the data that was provided to me in 2022, this is the public value statement that I wrote. So the WSU Extension Master Gardener Program contributes 60,000 pounds of produce to food banks, providing approximately 438 individuals a year with a year's supply of nutritious fruits and vegetables. Collectively, participants estimate saving $42,000 through the cultivation of their own food. So this is almost getting at public value, but it's the best I could do because we don't have data that supports people, our correlation to people having direct access to that food, because we haven't yet established those success indicators. So I want to talk about that. During yesterday's program coordinator meeting, we worked in breakout rooms. What you're seeing in front of you is a logic model and the addition of indicators for success. So we broke out into groups and started to fill out logic models for each of our program priorities. So we looked at what are the inputs, what are the outputs, what are those activities that come from those inputs, and then we looked at what are those short-term outcomes, which is knowledge gained. And I've said we're pretty good at in most counties, we're pretty good at learning about at evaluating what people learn. Some counties do a pretty good job at asking the question, okay, what are you going to do because of what you learned? And that gets at that behavior change. So we asked them immediately following the class, or the workshop or the field day, what are you going to do because of what you learned today? And they tell us that they're going to do these things. But what we don't do is we don't go back a year later and ask those people, okay, you said you were going to do this, but did you? If we did that, then we could start to go to that condition change. We could say that X number of people donate fresh produce to food banks. And if we increase the number of people who are donating food to fresh food banks, and we have that data, then we can say that our program supports direct access to food because it is increasing the direct access to food because people, giving people that direct access at food pantries. And then if we're looking at those long-term indicators or, that condition change, we want to make sure that there's an abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables at the local food pantries. So then if we look at what are those indicators for the long term, food pantries with an abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables. So we're going to have to partner with our food pantries in a more robust and intentional way and start asking them the questions. Do you have an abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables during the growing season? And if we're increasing that, then we're increasing direct access to food. And if on that very far right column, indicators long term, if you look down that column, and you'll see decreased incidence of diabetes, healthier BMIs, decreased healthcare costs. We can review secondary data from our Washington State Department of Health, from USDA NEFA, to see, because they track all of that. So we won't have to track it. They do that. But then we can, if the BMIs tend to decrease or incidence of diabetes decreases over time, then we can correlate the work that we're doing to a decreased incidence of diabetes. Now, this might seem all like pie in the sky, but this is the work that we as WSU Extension faculty and staff are asked to accomplish. And we cannot do it without your support, because you as volunteers are the ones out there delivering this education. This is something that is this logic model work and the difference that our program makes across our state is near and dear to my heart. I know we do this. I know we make a difference in our program priority areas, but we have to be able to prove that we make that difference with data and stories. I know this is a lot for you, but like I said at the beginning, I've learned over the years that there's a lot of talent in the Master Gardener program. Some of you probably lived and breathed this work when you were in your working life, or are still living and breathing this work in your work life. Some of you are willing to help us engage in this work because you are well versed in it. And others of you who lived and breathed this work don't ever want to see it again. And that's okay too. Others of you probably find it interesting and might want to learn about it. And others of you, aren't interested at all. No matter which boat you're in, that's okay. All I'm doing is sharing this with you to provide you with some context, and maybe we'll find a few of you in your counties who are interested and want to support our efforts in this. So if you're one of those people who are interested and want to support our efforts, I encourage you to reach out to your program coordinator. The 2023 reports were due yesterday. Most counties have already completed that. There's a couple still working on it. So this work now is really looking at evaluating our 2024 work, so that when we put out our 2024 impact report, maybe we'll have some stronger medium-term and long-term impacts to share that describe our public value. I also want to let you know that we're creating some evaluation tools for counties to use in our Qualtrics system, which is a survey system at WSU. And so, we're trying to make it as easy as possible for all of us to just grab those evaluations and use them in our delivery of education across the state. So I hope it was helpful for you to hear about this. I hope I didn't just, completely confuse all of you. I debated back and forth quite a bit on whether to even go there with this. But I don't know. I hope that it was something that you found interesting and want to engage in conversation around. Any questions about that right now? Thank you.
Jennifer,
Hi, Tana.
I'm wondering if our foundations might not be another add to the input resource column.
Yes, they should be. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's the volunteers wearing their other hat, right? We are foundation
exactly.
people and then we're volunteers. So
Yeah,
good
yeah,
catch.
yeah. Those were, yeah, I appreciate that. Those are draft things that we just started working on. All right. Thank you. And like I said, if you're interested, I encourage you to reach out, right? We need all the help that we can get to describe our public value and tell a compelling and impactful story with data. So now I'm going to turn it over to Tana Hassert, president of the State Foundation, to give her update.
Good morning. And I have to say, in my former life, hearing this information this morning was awesome. Jennifer, thank you. We often laugh about that. You know, I want to talk just briefly this morning about contributions that our state foundation are making at the local level, because we often get that question. So what is the state foundation contributing to us? And want to talk just briefly about work that's going on. So to start, yesterday we finished reviewing a communication survey that will form the basis of a communication plan for the State Foundation. We received excellent information from foundation presidents, coordinators, and board reps. Of course, it always causes a few more questions as we look at the data, but we have Steve Spitzer, who from Whatcom, who has stepped up and indicated he would like to join the officers on the board as our communication director. And so this gives Steve an excellent tool to begin to frame his work. You'll see more about that as we move along. In addition to that, Jennifer and I and a number of other board members have been doing individual work with chapters who have questions, ask for training, invite us in to do board orientation, a whole range of items that we support under the information, best practices, and training efforts of the State Foundation. You already heard about the AEC this morning, and earlier this week, after working in the demo garden, I stopped to get groceries, and a person in line with me said, "Are you a master gardener?" I said, "Yes." "Well, we stopped at your booth at the Flower and Garden Festival." We never miss a master gardener booth because we can always rely on the information that we receive. And so I want to again thank Kirby, who's our calming force, Gary, who's our people connector, Cecilia, who is our people guide, and Jennifer, who is our unifier, and Debbie, who's our visual artist. And I hope I haven't missed anyone, for all of the work they did. The booth was beautifully presented, and we're very honored to be able to partner with King County's plant clinic that used to be an independent booth on its own, and to be able to combine both our outreach to the public as well as our educational mission. In addition to that, we've been working on the Endowed Chair campaign, our own endowment for the State Foundation, and you're going to hear more about Cougs Gives. So check out those jazzy backdrops that Jennifer and I see Debbie has this morning as well. There's a great message behind them to you and how you can best help master gardeners across the state. In addition to that, we've been doing what I call plate of spaghetti work. All of you who serve on foundations, I'm sure, struggle with getting your bylaws in alignment and reviewing them so they're meaningful and appropriate over time. Working on your MOAs and your articles of incorporation. Well, the state board is working on that as well. It's an awesome task, kind of unraveling those pieces that need to align carefully. But as our state foundation grows and our efforts expand to best meet your needs at the local level, it's important that we have good, solid documentation and policies behind it. That also ensures that we're in careful alignment with the state program. Means that we combine efforts better, we communicate more effectively, and we better support the master gardener system as a whole. So you can watch for efforts. You know, much has changed since we first developed the outline and focus for the state foundation. Originally, it was certainly to earn money, and the endowment idea was a strong one, and then also to focus on the AEC. But as we have expanded, looking at more best practice training for local foundations and a higher mark for fundraising, we find that we also have to look at how we're structured and organized. And so again, we'll be hosting conversations. We want to involve as many of you as possible as we're making those decisions. So what might you see over the course of this next year or so? As I mentioned, we are beginning to talk about what's the best structure for us in order to accomplish our work and to be able to spread the work out a bit and take better advantage of the skills and talents that people can bring. I mentioned Steve, his nomination will be presented to the board this month, and getting that communication director filled with board approval will be an important benchmark for us. We're also working strongly on information technology. Our UFW project with our team of 4, Craig Lawrence, Debbie Benbow, John Strong, and Mike Peranto. When we did the communication survey, it's seldom I see a survey where people impacted by a major change uniformly rate their experience as exceptional or very good. So those of you who have participated with that team and helped shape the open lab model that's a self-support, I really want to thank you for digging in and providing excellent tools for your other colleagues who may be interested in adopting a model. We're going to be focusing on board recruitment, orientation, and training. And we have a great time as colleagues. It takes time that you parse off from your local foundation, but give some consideration to taking on a role with the State Foundation Board as well. We want to be sure that we have excellent communication with you, that we get your feedback and are viewed as being responsive. And we also take great pride in knowing that we're a resource for you. So I want to thank just this month. I had a great tour of the new greenhouse effort in Cowlitz County. This weekend, I'm sincerely looking forward to the Whidbey Gardening Workshop and all of the great things I'm going to learn. I'm even dragging my husband along, and I chose his sessions, I have to tell you. And then work with our local counties. It's just a privilege and an honor. And so on behalf of both the officers, our committee leads, and the representatives on the board, thank you for your support. It means a great deal. And as Jennifer said, we're making a measurable difference to the health of our state. I appreciate it. Jennifer, thank you so much for your time. This is a great partnership. I thoroughly enjoy working with Jennifer. We're starting to talk a bit about how next year's report might actually be a combined report between the state and the foundation. So that's it for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Tana. I ditto Tana's remarks there. The partnership that the state program has with the state foundation, it's improving, growing, and is mutually beneficial, which is all that we could ask for. So appreciate Tana's efforts and the efforts of the state board. Now I'd like to turn it over to Kathy Lamoureux and Deborah Bembo to provide a AEC update.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay. We didn't talk about that part. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I am Kathy Lamoureux. For those of you who don't know me, Spokane Master Gardener volunteer and the co-lead of AEC this year with Debbie Bembo. So my main responsibility for AEC is the program. And I have a committee that has been helping recruit speakers, and we will shortly be reviewing RFPs. And if you haven't seen the RFP, Debbie's going to put the link to it in the chat. We can also send it to you directly. You don't have to ask our permission if you want to give the proposal, the request for proposal, to somebody you know, or whatever. You heard a good speaker, whoever talks at the Island County seminars this weekend. We have cabin fever going on in Spokane this weekend as well. Anybody that kind of tweaks your interest and you think they would be a good fit for AEC, share away. It's not, we don't have ownership of it. The further it reaches out, the tentacles, the better we are. So go ahead and use that. Think about it for yourself as well. If you have a particular topic that you speak on and would like to share at a wider venue. The deadline for RFP submissions is March 11th. So that's March, it's coming up really fast. So don't delay if you've got somebody in mind. I do check that email that all the submissions are coming into every day. Hopefully click on it and hope that somebody has submitted. Nada, not a thing. But in my experience, about 24 hours before the deadline, I'm going to be swamped. So that's a good thing. The selection committee is composed of the committee, which includes Jennifer. Several people have asked that question. Is, how are we going to ensure that the credentials of the speakers and the quality of the presentations meet our criteria for continuing ed? And Jennifer will see every submission. So don't worry about that part. We will be attempting to cover every priority with at least one presentation. And then the other thing I wanted to share, if you haven't heard who the keynote is going to be a landscape architect named Rebecca McMacken. She resides on the East Coast, and she calls herself an ecological landscaper. And she's done a whole ton of work in designing for wildlife, making sure that both the wildlife and the people are well served in her designs. And I think you'll find her very interesting. If you want to look her up, oh, good. Debbie just put a link to her as well. She does have a website, and it's hername.com, RebeccaMcMacken.com. And she's done a TED Talk that's linked on her website. So if you want to get a taste of her speaking style and what you're in for, please go have a look at her. And are there any questions about that at this point? We're still months away, so yeah, Deborah.
Kathy, is there a theme for this year's conference?
It's yes, and I always forget it. Gardening in a changing climate.
Yeah.
Mike Peranto, he's probably on here. He's probably rolling in his grave because I always forget exactly what it is. Sorry. The one for cabin fever, which I'm also the lead for, is very similar. And so I've got them both rolling around in my head. Okay, if there's no questions, Debbie's got some information she wants to share.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the benefits of a virtual conference. Our registration opens June 1st. And some of the benefits are there are going to be 35 classes plus a keynote, and everything is going to be recorded. So whereas a live conference is fun, the networking is fun, the benefits for virtual is you get to attend every single class if you want to. You're not limited to just 7 classes. So that's one of the benefits. The other benefit is the cost savings. There's no travel, no hotel, food, and the time for travel. It's been prohibitive for some people in the state that are in the a far distant corner of the state to travel that many hours to get to a conference at the other side of the state. Let's see. Another great benefit is we are able to, recruit speakers from all over the country. There are, many experts out there. Rebecca McMacken is a good example. She's in New York, and she's able to speak at our conference at a very reasonable amount of, cost. So, like I said, the registration opens June 1st. The early bird is going to be $109. So there's another benefit. The cost of the registration is quite a bit less. Some of the needs that we are looking to form a sponsorship team. If you go to the website, there is a page for potential sponsors with information and a packet they can download, and they can also go ahead and apply right there on the website. And if they choose to pay by check, they can do that, or they can pay online. So, you know, we've improved that. We're also looking for people for a publicity team. So if that's something you're interested in, you know, be sure to get in touch with myself, Kathy, Jennifer, or even Tana, and we'll get you hooked up. We're going to start our team meetings, our planning meetings later this month. It'll be the second Wednesday of each month at 10 o'clock. We'll start working with our uh, production team, Live Oak Media, a little bit later in March. And so, yeah, so I guess that's all I have. Are there any questions? Okay, I think we've done a good job of covering it, Kathy. Okay.
All right, thanks, Debbie.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a fun conference. Unfortunately, I don't get to attend this year. My daughter is getting married at the same time, so we will be attending her wedding. So hopefully I'll be able to watch the recordings. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to my piece of this. Let's see if I can. All right, are you seeing the Cougs Give screen? Great, thank you. So I have some good news about this. So Cougs Give is a scale funder day of giving that happens every year. And our WSU Extension Master Gardener Endowed Chair campaign is being featured for the third year in a row as a high level, I know, as a highlight for Cougs Given and our college Connors. So that's great news. We're being highlighted again because they've deemed that we do a good job of getting the word out and raising awareness about Cougs Give, raising dollars for Cougs Give, and just raising overall awareness about WSU, because it really, Cougs Give is about all of that. It's not just about raising the money, it's about raising the friends and raising awareness of what WSU does. And this is our opportunity to raise awareness about what our program does. So this year, we have a $16,000 goal for the day of Cougs Give, which is April 17th, 2024. And we need ambassadors. And ambassadors are people who care about our program and will use their voice to inspire others to support success of our program. You can do that through social media, through email, really telling the story about why the program matters to you and what difference has the program made in your life. And the more ambassadors we have, the more we'll be able to share out with the public about this opportunity to support our program. And so I'm looking for you today to email me and tell me you're interested in being an ambassador. And that really, all that is either being willing to email friends and family about this opportunity and about why the Master Gardener program matters to you, or putting up social media posts that describe why the program matters to you. And really, it's personal, right? The stories that are personal that get shared are the ones that pull at the heartstrings the most for people who are reading your social media posts or reading your emails. And so if you're interested in being an ambassador, please email me, and then we will offer some ambassador training. We will have you sign up to be an ambassador. And that gives you, what that does is gives you access to all the tools. Like, so the Zoom background that you're seeing, it will give you access to other great graphics, some hashtags to use in your social media posts, ideas for stories, and it will give you a specific link that is connected to you. So part of Cougs Give and a Scale Funding Day is it's like a challenge, right? It almost is like a competitive sporting event if you're into sports, to where they track how many gifts were given connected to that specific link. And then they, post it on a wall, on a virtual wall that shows, this person had the most gifts. And so it's kind of fun if your competitive nature gets the best of you sometimes. I know mine does. So this year, our goal is $16,000. I'm happy to say that Tana and I have been working with our state foundation leadership and the state program leadership. And I haven't even shared this good news with Tana yet. But the state state program leadership, I think we're in for between 4,000 and 5,000. So I know, yeah, that's very exciting. And I know that,
Now there's a competition in the
yeah.
making.
So there's 5 of us on the state leadership team, and we met Tuesday, and we're working through that number, but it'll be between 4 and 5. So that's fantastic. And I know the state foundation has also committed some funds. I think Tana is still working through how much that will be, but in the end, it might be six grand or so of matching dollars, I would imagine. So now, we're almost, we have a $16,000 goal, and we're starting at 6. But those are challenges, right? So we need to at least get other donations to match that challenge. So more to come, but what I'm asking you for right now is, if you are interested in being an ambassador for Cougs Give to help us raise money to hire our endowed professor to fully engaged, 100% dedicated to the Extension Master Gardener program, to teach, to engage in research with you, to create curriculum, email me, and I will keep a list, and we'll offer you the ambassador training. Any questions about that? All right. One more thing is I am recruiting for an advisory committee. I have been encouraging local program coordinators to work with an advisory committee to offer, oops, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second so I can see your faces. There we go. An advisory committee to help me with candid input regarding the operation of our statewide program. So I'm looking for folks who can assist me in the collection of current data to be used for project program development, to telling our story, to making sure that we're meeting our stakeholder needs, ideas of exploring new and innovative methods for expanding our outreach activities, reviewing new project proposals. As the state foundation has grown and become a true partner with the program, and we're creating that cohesive statewide program, we're beginning to see more statewide program efforts. And so I don't feel like I have all the tools and resources that I need to make a decision on whether or not we should engage in a program activity. I want to make sure that I'm hearing from all the counties, volunteers, and staff, because the last thing I want to do is approve a statewide program or educational activity, and then have that adversely impact your county programs, or county volunteers and county staff. I want to make sure that what we're doing at the state level is in concert with what you're doing and supportive of what's happening in the counties. And so I think, having an advisory team will help me ensure that that's the direction that we're going. This advisory team will help evaluate our current educational outreach activities. I shared a little bit about how we do that today. And I would like this advisory team to ensure, that we are supporting an effective and mutually beneficial partnership between the state program and the state foundation. To that end, I want to make sure that one person who sits on this committee is a member of the state foundation. And then also the committee will have the responsibility for helping me communicate among all stakeholders to both program needs and accomplishments. Membership in the committee will be selected by me and the Master Gardener leadership team of Vicki McCracken, Jim Kropp, Todd Murray, and Jana Ferris. And the members will be invited based on a letter of interest that describes their knowledge, skills, and abilities and characteristics to serve on the committee. So membership can be certified or emeritus Master Gardener volunteers in good standing, or current and retired WSU Extension staff and faculty who have a strong commitment to the program and significant experience in the program, have effective communication skills both in private and public settings, including active listening. I think that's key. We really need good listeners, people who have their ear to the ground in the counties. The ability to think strategically with program vision and goal statements in mind, and the ability to analyze complex input and provide informed advice. I want to make sure that the membership is geographically diverse and represents 5 regions. I'm going to say the Northwest region, the Southwest region, the Northeast region, the Southeast region, and the Central region. And then also one person from the state foundation. And then commit to, there's also some information in what I'm looking at right now for commitment as well. So I'm going to put a link in the chat box that describes much of what I just said, and tells you how to apply if you are interested in serving. And got this out yesterday through program coordinators, and then today here. So timeline, the letters of interest are due middle of March. They'll be reviewed by the end of March, and invitations to participate will go out in April. Anything for the good of the group. Oh, we're at 10:03. Questions, thoughts? All right, our next meeting is, I think, March 29th, 2024. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Jennifer.